Welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. 58 days now, basically since Lily and Jack Sullivan have been missing. But this is the conversation about Daniel's mother and brother. And it seems quite strange because, like I said, I've just noticed they've sort of been on the sort of perimeter of this case. And this is Jen, who's talking about the case. Do go and subscribe to her because she does make some brilliant points.
Guys, I'm starting to wonder what's going on with the situation with Janey and Justin. That would be Daniel Martell, the stepdad, his mother, and stepbrother or actual real brother. I haven't figured that out yet. Not too much has been said about the brother, Justin. Now, Justin was seen crying a lot, and then, and you're going to hear this next clip, Grandma Belinda has been asking about what kind of large dog was inside that camper. Why was Belinda wondering what kind of dog it was? And she's wondering why Janey was so upset about letting the police in to search her camper. Okay, she was saying the dog could get hurt. Now, think about it.
Why didn't they just move the dog and tie her up somewhere else? You know, there's so many places you can put a dog if it needs to be searched in help to find, obviously, the two missing children. That just doesn't make sense to me, unless they had something to hide.
Would a dog get hurt if police are going to go search? Okay? Now, if they need to search the camper, just take the dog and put it in the car or take it somewhere else. All right?
There you go.
Let the police search. So Janey also in these statements that she didn't want them searching a cupboard or whatever inside of her trailer or camper, if you want to say. Now, listen to this next clip and let me know what you think about this.
Female officer that was there, and they're saying that Janey refused to let her search her trailer. That's bullshit. The officer asked Janey if she could search the trailer, and Janey said, well, if you want to risk getting bit by my dog, because he's in there tied up, pissed off, so if you want to go in, go ahead, but if you get bit by the dog, it's your own arse.
Well, I do remember when I was there, I don't know who put their arm around her and told her, Mom, they're not blaming you. They just want to search the trailer. And I do remember her saying she didn't want her dog to get hurt.
Thank you very much. You just confirmed.
So same idea.
Thank you so much, because we're actually confirming partially back and forth stuff that we're both saying to each other. And when two people hear in different spots and different places, it makes it look a little more truthful. And that's a lot of how I'm trying to get at the truth, is different people saying different at different times. So anyway, I don't want to rave on, Belinda. Please, I'll stop for now. And I can't even remember where I just stopped.
Well, no, you were talking about Janey, and you were talking about the information in the statement, and you said so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Belinda, that's when Janey finally jumped in. I was 90% sure, through a bunch of other stuff, that Daniel never killed those kids. As far as abuse or anything like that, I wasn't getting into that issue either way. It wasn't my business, because the only way that would be my business is if Malaya herself. Now, Patty suspected abuse, and that's how I got into this. Patty, I went over 2 weeks. It'll be too long. Let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
I'm trying to shorten it.
It's okay, shorten it.
Patty suspected abuse. Patty called me and said, you know Daniel, right? I said, yeah, my young fellow knows him, and he was around our property a few times. She said, what do you think of him? I said, I find Daniel fine young fellow, never been a problem. So that was all right. She said, look, I think I have a problem. I said, what's that? She said, I think Daniel's abusing Jack. And I said, why would you say that, Patty? What do you think? And she said, bruises and scratches and stuff. And I said, oh Jesus. So I said, Patty, well, I said, it's like this.
But surely Malaya would have said something to her side of the family. And is this another storyline to put Daniel back into the mix? I'm not sure, because like I said, it's really, really hard to sort of get honest, specific details. And I was talking to Ali about this, and she said it's probably, the grandmothers who seem to want the truth in this. And I totally agree with her. There's so many mixed messages in this case. It's quite hard to believe. You always think whether it's Janey, whether it's Daniel, whether it's Justin, whether it's Malaya, whether it's Malaya's mother, there's something not quite right in this case. And it's hard to deep dive because you don't want to sort of question sort of everyone in this case until, like I said, something concrete actually comes up. This is why I've sort of basically sort of sat back on the perimeter waiting to see whether something crucial comes in, but it just seems that we're waiting and waiting and waiting. And like I said, it's 58 days now since these kids have gone missing, and it's still very, very worrying.
And I think I knew where her conversation was going. I think she was going to ask me to sort of butt in. And I did, at that point, I said no. I said, as long as Malaya and Daniel are living together as a couple, on your word, Patty, or anybody else's, nobody has the right to interfere in their relationship. I said, but at this, Patty, I said, if Malaya's in trouble and the cops won't help her, I said, then tell Malaya to call me directly with her own voice and her own mouth and tell me she wants out of there and she's scared to get out of there, and I'll go right over and I'll take her out of there with the kids, and I said, I'll take her to your place or wherever she wants to go. And
so that was a little bit Darren talking about he's seems to be a relative, they say, as of Malaya. So Starcat in the chat goes, exactly, Janey was obviously hiding something. Could it possibly be Wugs? We don't know. I don't think it was, to be honestly. Why did the mother go to the beach? Saying the story makes more sense, but it's still missing info. I think Janey was worried about them searching for things unrelated to the kids, but it's being honest about hearing them, etc. Yeah. Well, I haven't heard it yet. It makes you wonder what happened with the dog, definitely. I have a rescue dog. She's a pit bull, and I know I'd be concerned for her safety in a situation like this. I know it would be highly over-stimulating and cause her anxiety. I'd be scared they would misread her and put her down or shoot her, but I do agree that you could not just remove a dog off the property. Maybe it was happening all too fast. Yeah, but look, I'm with the sort of authorities on this when we're looking for 2 missing children. Yes, I love dogs at the end of the day, but like I said, I think in an emergency where kids have gone missing and they need to search that property, or whether they've got a warrant or not, they've still got to do their job as professionally as possible. And if that dog is a bit aggressive, and then there's a reason for that, do you know what I mean? But like I said, the police and authorities are looking for 2 missing kids that, could have possibly had passed away but have never been found. Do you know what I mean? Why would the cops not go in and search anyway? You got a warrant. They need to, basically eliminate everything across that. Someone else says, I'll go right over and I'll take her out of there with the kids and take her to the place or wherever she wants to go. How does she know if it was Daniel? Maybe it was the mother. She moved them, the kids. Yeah, look, this story goes on and on, people. Let me know what you think. And do you think it's obviously Darren guy? He's got a couple of names and he knows something. He obviously had some good information. I've heard another story. Someone was saying that the RCMP don't believe what this Darren's saying. So it's interesting stuff at the moment. But like I said, our main concern is the kids. And I think in finding them, let's just hope the police and the authorities get some more leads soon. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment. We're trying to get to the 7,000 mark, so keep basically liking the video and pushing these videos out there. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe and support us to get to 7,000. Thank you.